Hi everyone! Welcome to Chapter 1, Section 1 of the online video course, Chinese Traditional Culture and Spiritual Healing. I'm Xiaohen Bi, a teacher at Guangdong University of Foreign Studies.
Professor, Zhuangzi lived over 2,000 years ago. Do you believe his book still has relevance or resonates with people today?
There are plenty of people who touch up a cake by adding icing on top, while few would send charcoal on a snowy day. Zhuangzi is one of the very few who sends charcoal to the many weak people even in a blizzard. Professor Bao Pengshan said, among all the philosophers of the pre-Qing period, it is Zhuangzi alone who speaks not to the empress but to us, the common folks. Zhuangzi lived in a chaotic era when virtues and rituals were abandoned. The dukes and generals from the states fought wars for imperial power, so the common folk's life was hit hard. When all his contemporaries tried their very best to advise the dukes and the generals, the strong, on how to change the world and gain the upper hand in the game, Zhuangzi instead, he turned to the common folks, the weak. He told them to change themselves in order to play a good game with bad luck, amidst the blood and chaos. The philosophy of Zhuangzi is a mosaic. Different people see it from different angles, all catching sight of the multifaceted beauty and splendor. I've always seen the book Zhuangzi as a manifesto for the weak, telling them how to save or free themselves.
Hold on, I am not weak. It seems it's not written for me.
By the weak, I mean the ones who are weaker compared to the strong. It also refers to the vulnerability of our own existence. Humans are like a fragile reed. There once was a little monk. Looking perplexed, he asked his master, "Why can't I sleep at night?" With mixed emotions, the master responded, "Night, to humans, isn't here solely for their sleep. It is there for insomnia, depression, breakdown, despair, remembrance, and regrets. People can be more tiresome at night than in daytime." So true. In the daytime, we tend to display a facade, pretending to be calm, even faking a smile. It is at night, when we are alone with our wounds, with our vulnerability sinking in, when the party is over, that we know our thoughts are as messy as the clutter of plates and cups. Our life is very much like an embroidery work. The front presents the smooth and shining surface, while the back is full of mixed and messy stitches. No one, however strong, can be strong forever. No one, however strong, can get things beyond his reach. When he's beaten by someone stronger, he becomes the weak. When he encounters great setbacks and starts to fall, he becomes the weak. When he can no longer feel the meaning and fun of the life of the strong, he becomes the weak. He's not even prepared for being the weak, so he is maybe even more vulnerable than an average weak person. Life is fair for everyone. Anyone can become the weak at some point in their life. Isn't there a patient in every home? Won't you get sick at some point in your entire life? This line comes from the popular Chinese movie Dying to Survive, and it speaks to every single soul. It is as true to those who are physically sick as to those with a mental illness. In this sense, Zhuangzi not only speaks up for the weak, but also for every fragile human being in the world. The hard times and the solutions that Zhuangzi talked about can be relatable to everyone's life. Hu Wenying made a comparison between Zhuangzi and Qu Yuan. Zhuangzi and Qu Yuan were contemporaries in the Warring States period. Qu Yuan was a minister in the Chu state. He had always wanted to devote himself to his country, but was placed in exile by the king of Chu state. After the Chu state was conquered by the Qing state, he felt so hopeless about it that he drowned himself in the river. Hu points it out that Zhuangzi has a compassionate heart. People all know about Qu Yuan's grief, but they don't know that Zhuangzi is even more grief-stricken. For Qu Yuan is concerned about his country, while Zhuangzi concerns himself with the whole world. Qu Yuan is concerned about his own time, while Zhuangzi is concerned about generation after generation. Hu believes that Zhuangzi is far more compassionate than Qu Yuan, as the latter is concerned about the people in the state of Chu, his countrymen, but the former is concerned about everyone. Zhuangzi is deeply concerned about the fatal misfortunes for everyone, such as sickness, death, love and separation, desire, oppression, contempt, and reproach. Zhuangzi says to those who are struggling with the ups and downs of a miserable life, if a man cannot change the world, he can at least rebuild his soul. That way he can save himself and find happiness even in the darkest hours of life. Zhuangzi could have been one of the strong with immense power in the court. The king of Chu, the state Zhuangzi lived in, once sent over 2 officials to offer him the position of the prime minister, but he was unmoved and turned it down. By then, he was very much aware of the risks and vulnerabilities facing the strong, since they lived in turbulent times. Zhuangzi turned around, reaching out to the weak. He carried the weight of the world with a compassionate heart. He tries his very best to help every fragile life by building their sense of security, offering all-around protection. Even though a man might lose many things, he can still perceive the comfort from Tao. Even if he's alone with the art of Tao, he can still sense the vastness of being, surrounded by the infinite beauty of the universe. Even if it speaks of nothing, he can still feel the immense kindness from its tranquil beauty. Now we've come to the end of the lesson. To wrap up, I invite you to the discussion of the following 2 questions. 1. How do you understand the strong and the weak? 2. What experiences do you consider as the fatal misfortunes for everyone? And how do we usually cope with them? Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.